you're so good and so organized. I sit in on a lot of meetings, but yours are always the best meetings. So yeah,
Well, thank you. Y'all make it so joyful and and I've made that very clear with my friends, my family, and like peers, colleagues. Like I want to stay in Louisiana. My program's physiology and medicine that I'm getting my PhD in, and I love what I do. And I hopefully I'll get a job in New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Shreveport, somebody's children's hospital or academic center. Really, I love Louisiana, and I want to
mm,
see us do amazing. But I also recognize that there's some things we need to get to before 2030 or we're not going to have a Louisiana.
yeah. I wonder if that's why they haven't built 49 from New Orleans to Lafayette. Nobody really talks about it, but sea level rise is going to be an issue down that
Yeah.
way. And I wonder if that's what the holdup is. They talk about it up here as if that one little stretch through Allendale, through our beloved Allendale neighborhood, is the only piece missing to this I-49 puzzle. But there's a great deal through Arkansas, through a national forest that has not even been started to talk about. There's a whole lot missing between New Orleans, which that was the original idea, right? Get from New Orleans to Winnipeg without ever having to stop except for more fuel. And I wonder if they really are ready for what could happen down south with the sea level rise.
No.
We'd be happy to have you all move up here and stay with us on the new beachfront that will probably we'll probably spend $28 billion on beaches up here if
The
that
beach,
happens.
the beachfront end up being in Natchitoches.
Yeah, right. But yeah, please stay in Louisiana. We need you here. Roosevelt, we need you to come back to Louisiana when you get to
Man, if you convince my wife, that'd be the hardest part. She's a Georgia peach, so she ain't trying to. She's not trying to leave Georgia.
It's only 12 hours to Atlanta.
I know, right? A quick flight, right?
We'll have the rail ready soon.
Oh yeah,
I think there's a legs. I think they're actually going to start in my lifetime, maybe within 2 or 3 years, on Shreveport to Monroe for some reason. But that's where they're going to start on that piece that will eventually connect Dallas to Atlanta.
But it almost sounds like the same thing that Angelle is talking about with the New Orleans to Baton Rouge piece, right? Everybody says, it's a done deal because we have all the people saying, I'm okay with it. I'm not against it. I'm okay with it. But there hasn't been really the boots on the ground type work that needs to be done to make sure it's getting done. Is that the same thing that's happening in Baton Rouge?
Yeah, pretty much. It's like every couple of days in the newspaper, oh, this is a done deal. This is a done deal. And the hard part is we're not against it, right? Like we're not against more multimodal or transit or rail. The problem is like getting the public and all of us on one accord to first say, number one, who owns it, who runs it. Number two, where's the public good in this, right? Because there will be property value benefits. Do we get those taxes, or are we subsidizing like what rich people or companies? So and businesses that will develop along those routes. Like, how do we ensure that it is under the public purview and not just something that's handed down to us? And then of course, electric and not diesel, because right now, most of these projects, they're proposing for it to be usual status quo fossil fuels, but we don't need to be stuck with that 50 years from now. And you don't change trains out every 5 seconds. That's just not realistic. So you need to do it right or not at all. So, and that's the hard. Mm-hmm.
Now, I have one last question for you, and this is something that I talk to people a lot. I work at a university. I worked at Georgia Tech, and I'm always talking to the kids there. And I call them kids, but they're up in age, right? They're 20-something years old, and there's a generational gap. And I always say that generational gap happens because, we're used to doing things in my generation. John, my parents, parents, the parents, they're just used to doing things. And every generation goes through that. And one of the things I'm starting to see with this generation is you guys really don't like to drive. right? Y'all really don't. And that's the crazy part about this generation is that, you know, they're okay. People are okay with Ubering. People are okay with doing Lyft, right? And okay with doing public transportation. But when I told my father, I said, hey, you know, just take a Uber over there. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do that, right? But I see this generation and the generation after me, they have a different way of seeing transportation. Do you think that difference in the way that the generations are starting to look at transportation is a good thing, or do you see it hindering in a way?
Oh, I think it's definitely a good thing. And of course, I'm biased, but I will say, like, you know, it's hard because there's so many lines you can use when we're talking about our campaign because there's so many things we're trying to tackle at once. One of those things, though, it's not leaving anyone behind. Like just like the ubiquitousness, if that's a word, of transit is to keep everyone included. And our grandparents shouldn't feel, and our grandparents, our parents shouldn't feel excluded from this new mode or this new culture change just because it requires an app. Or, like, we're going to have to do the education and be as, you know, diversified in how people can access that transit because yeah, like Uber, if I was like 90, yeah, it would be intimidating, but we need to also paint that picture that it's to bring you, it's to include you so that like you can meet your grandkids at the restaurant and not like be nervous or worried about how you're going to get there or have to drive yourself. So it's not about leaving anybody behind. And the blessing about, you know, the younger generations being excited about it, we don't have to worry as much about convincing them. We just need to do it. And then for older generations, we need to show them that it's possible. And then hopefully we'll all kind of meet in the middle and hop on the same bus or train together and also lead us into a better Louisiana future, because we really can't maintain the current state of things and still have our state and maintain our culture the way that we're headed right now. So yeah, I think it's a good thing. I think it's a blessing, and also hopefully it'll center and slow us down too, because we live such a fast life, all of us as Americans. It's just go go go. But with transit, you sit down, you listen to that podcast, or you read that book, or you have a conversation. And when you see the studies that show people are literally more connected emotionally and spiritually to other people in cities where you're not just in your own world, in your own car, that's a blessing too. And we need that for a state that needs a healthier life.
Good, good, good. I love it. I love it. Well, you know, John, do you have anything else you need to ask? You want to ask her?
No, I just have to agree. You know, I raised 20 somethings now, and I was shocked. I couldn't wait to get my license at 15 in Louisiana. And I was shocked at their friends who said, I don't want to learn to drive to their parents. And I was like, what? But that there really is a generation that just wants to be together and hang out. And what I think all people want, but this new Gen Z especially, they just want a really neat place to be together, you know, and they don't really care about if there's a lot of slabs of concrete. They just want a cool town, you know, a fun place to be together. And if they can get on a really great piece of transit and sit and gab and text each other while they're riding on the train, and when I go visit them in the other cities they live in, they're happier than if they're worried about their car and getting in a wreck and everything. So absolutely, we need you to stick around, Angelle, because the future's bright here with people working like you've inspired us all to do to build a better Louisiana. So thank you so much for your time this afternoon. I know you're busy, so
Oh yeah,
I really appreciate it. Yeah, yeah.
No problem.
go ahead.
Yeah. I was just gonna say I'm grateful for this conversation, and like, yeah, while I'm the end of the millennials, like right before Gen Z, I am super happy to represent millennials today and to hang out with y'all. And but at the end of the day, be a Louisianan, because I'm not really stuck into age or anything, but like being a Louisianan and choosing to be here is very intentional, and I just want us to have a great life regardless of our age. So thank you for the conversation and the platform, and for having this podcast in the first place. So Yeah.
I mean, we're happy to have you on, and like I said, you have inspired us every time we speak with you, and every time we hear the next thing that you're doing. You know, you really inspire us, and I'm hoping that other people are paying attention, right? And you know, if you do end up going the political route, hey, you know, I can't vote in Louisiana, but hey, I can help you out, right? I can do whatever I can to help you out, even though I don't want to push you toward that. I would like to keep you on that the advocacy part, right? That part, right? You know, so but I am so happy to have you on today, and I'm very thankful for you answering our question. Because I can really keep asking you questions about transportation, but I know we all have other lots of things going on today. So thank you for coming out with us and hanging with us today.
No problem, y'all. Thank you.
So, you know, John, thank you for hanging out with me again today. You know, John, it's always a pleasure talking to my brother from another mother in Shreveport.
Yeah, man, we have fun. Tell them where they can find the podcast and where they can find Allendale Strong before we sign.
Yeah, well, you can find the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. You can find us on Google. You can find us on Apple Podcasts. You can find us anywhere that you listen to podcasts. Just search Allendale Strong. You can also find us on YouTube. Search Allendale Strong channel on YouTube, and make sure you like and subscribe the channel, because it helps gets our message out to other places. Now, let's say if you want to get with us on any of the social media platforms, just check us out on Facebook, on Twitter, or anywhere else that you do your social media. Just once again, search Friends of Allendale Strong or
Instagram. On Instagram,
oh,
on
yeah,
LinkedIn. We everywhere.
There
as
you
soon
go.
as soon as you start getting the videos going, we'll be on WhatsApp and all those other platforms too. But such a great time today. Thank you so much for having me again. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Always, man. And everybody that's out there listening, please have a wonderful, wonderful day.